So let's start with the hands over the belly. To feel as though there's this spherical bladder which has the dantian at the center. And the skin of the bladder is springy. They also liken it to a cauldron, the round bottomed pot that you'd hang over the fire. There's a sense that the work that we're doing is heating the contents. Okay, and now it's working it. So imagine that you're working this springy bladder. So you push into it and it springs you back out. And then you stretch it a little bit bigger than it is and it springs you back in. I want to feel the inevitability of the return. And then once I get that, I want to start getting the movement into the lower back and the belly. So it's not the arms that move apart, it's the lower back that tightens and arches me back, and then it's the belly that tightens to pull the hands in. Trying to get the action or the motor for the action as close to the dantian, as close to this bladder as possible. Coordinating it with the breathing. So breathing in to expand, breathing out to contract. That's natural breathing. And then bringing a bit of a twist in, not too much, just only as far as the corner. What we want to develop is what they call the corset of the waist. So imagine you have this corset on that you've really tightened up. That's how we want that region to feel. The muscles are taut. And imagine you had a corset on here and you really tightened it up. It would just squeeze everything up like this. Feeling when you get the waist properly toned, it's as though it's squeezing something upwards. And now let's just place the hands. So link the fingers and just place the hands on the top of the head. Try and relax the shoulders down. So you've got the weight of your hands pulling down on the head because the arms are trying to drop with gravity. And then just tilt, feeling the stretch at that side of the torso and the contraction on the other side. So try and get these muscles to tighten as well as letting gravity pull you over. Try and tighten the muscles here to stretch these even more than they would with gravity. And now just grabbing the towel if you've got one. So just holding it so the hands are the same width as your shoulders. And arm's length. So the arms are straightish. Keep the towel taut, so the hands pulling apart to tighten the towel. And then simply turn and then back to the front and let it grow. Let the turn increase. All the time trying to keep the shoulders relaxing, but the hands pulling apart. It's the good thing about using a towel that you know if your hands have slackened because the towel will loosen. So as you twist, that corset will tighten and it will squeeze you more up into the upper chest. Okay, good. And now let's just try some the head, turning the hands over. And then bring the hands in and just figure of eight. Keep the eyes closed and just try and get as much movement in the head as possible. And now rubbing the hands. Relaxing the shoulders. Try and keep space in the armpits. That's it, so the elbows are out. If you think of it coming from the heart up to the shoulder and then down the arm, the more of an angle this makes, the more chances the energy has of getting blocked. That's it. That looks good. Yes, that's what we want. Elbows out, but the shoulders down. See, and the head just rises out of that. And now the knees, but alternating. And we're trying to feel the twist in the spine that's producing this alternating action. So we'd like to feel that the effort is coming from the torso rather than the arm. I mean, obviously something's coming from the arm, but it's my twisting and my breathing that's responsible largely for the movement. Try and keep the eyes closed and really focus on the lower back belly region being the motor. The mind is always wanting to come back up into the head to engage in thinking, so it will tend to weaken the power of the torso of the belly in particular. Good. And now let's just rub the hands again. And then just place the hands on the sacrum. So each hand is on the sacroiliac effectively. Try and keep the shoulders relaxing and just with your mind, just feel mindful. You want to notice everything. Feeling the heat that we've generated in the palms seeping into those joints. It's like those joints are hungry for energy. They soak it up. Rub the hands again. Now the hands on the back of the head. So very gently, I'm teasing the head upwards, so effectively stretching the neck, the back of the neck. And there's no force. The hands are just sort of suggesting, if you like, suggesting this gentle pressure upwards. Feel your neck lengthening. Don't pull the head back. The chin is down, and if anything, the head is pulled forward. So it's the back of the neck that's stretching, not the throat. The throat is almost constricting, almost like it's a little bit difficult to breathe. And just imagine, the longer your neck becomes, the more beautiful you become. So you become the beautiful princess with this long, slender neck. So it's suggestive of, it's beautiful, but it's also noble. It's like noble thoughts, high thoughts come from this high head. Now let's just bring the hands back down to the belly where we started. Locate the Dan chin. You want the middle of the palm, the lagun, over that point, and then the other hand over that. So the two lagun points are lined up with the Dan chin. And just imagine you have like a little embryo in there. something that's alive, something that's very dependent upon you, but it has a life of its own as well. You can think of it as like a little tiny figure of eight. For each of the dantians, each one is a source of spirit, but it's quite a different spirit from each other. The heart is the one we're used to. That's the one that's more like the butterfly that flits around. This is more like a really sort of primitive movement. You know those nematode worms? You probably don't, but they sort of live in pond water and they move by just whipping around in a figure of eight like this, and it takes them through the water. So very, very primitive, but quite beautiful. We want that to feel like that's the source of everything that we physically do. All the movements that we make are generated from that source. And then this is just pure openness and brightness. You know, that's the quality of the spirit here. It's like when it turns on, it's not the butterfly that flits. It's like a light that just fills the space it's in. So for that, the mind just has to be completely quiet. Let's start pulling in the rope. Feel this region. So we want all the movements to start here, if you like, and then extend outwards, extend up into the arms and down into the feet. So here it's coming up across the shoulder blade and down into the hand. And again, from here, it's coming across from the sacrum and down the leg into the foot. Both of the limbs are extending, both the arm and the leg on the same side of the body are either contracting or extending. Turn, turn. That's it, that's it. Feel this, almost like you're trying to get your sacrum facing the front. And then when you pull in here, don't come out of this foot too soon. So this hand that comes in cuts into the groin here and helps keep it open. So when I bring my weight into it, I'm very much in the outside edge of this foot and it's still open here. That's it, that looks good. You just end up getting this more sunk, closer to the ground and with a better developed center of gravity. Like the Chinese, you know, with their bandy legs. This is how we want to at least feel that we are like bandy-legged. constantly spreading here to push ourselves into the outside edges. You extend from the outside edge, so it's the little finger that's trying to extend out. The little finger is on the outside edge of the hand, of the arm. It's the small intestine meridian, I think. You're just working very gently and mindfully, just watching everything. What we'd like is that, each time we practice, something new crops up. We notice something that we sort of never quite noticed before. There's nothing worse than just going through the motions. I mean, you have to start off doing that, but very quickly it should become exciting. So everything new that we encounter, if we looked deeply, we'd realize actually we'd encountered it before, we've just forgotten. It's the curse of the mediocre student is forgetfulness. And as John always used to say, we are all mediocre students trying to become good students, never quite succeeding. And let's send the hand up. It's the same turning. You just got to bend the spine now, as well as twist it. Feel the connection. Once you've extended the hand up, feel the connection between the full opposite foot and the empty little finger that's reaching upwards. That's like a whip, with the strong, chunky end of the whip that you hold on to being the foot, and the thin other end being the little finger. And feel the line. Somehow, like this line between the opposite foot and the finger, to be clear, to really be able to transmit energy up and down. What do you have to do with the head and the spine to keep that channel open? extending from the belly. So I'm extending up from the belly, but I'm extending down from the belly as well. So I have to stay sinking and sunk if I want this line to be rooted, to have a source beneath my foot. So remember that the source of the energy is always the ground, the earth. The source of the movement is the waist, the belly. So the waist does two things really. It sucks the energy up from the ground, and then it extends the energy into the opposite hand. And it's very easy to feel in this exercise. So you can feel this foot wanting to grab the ground and pull yourself down into it. And that's pulling the energy up, which can then extend into the opposite hand. Yeah, so this hand is extending up, this leg is extending down, and then I start pulling with this leg, and it draws the energy up into the down chin, and then I just continue the turn, and it will then extend up the opposite arm. Give and take. I'm taking energy from the ground here, and then I'm extending it out up to the heavens. You can equally feel it going the other way. So I can think of this hand now reaching up to the heavens, pulling down some energy from the heavens, and then here extending that energy down this leg into the ground. So it's always two-way. This is the thing about energy. It always really flows in both directions. The same as force, Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. It's just a fundamental law, really, of energy as much as force. What makes it energy, really, is just the mind. It's the mind staying with it and watching it. It's all forces, really, that my quiet, interested mind turns into an energetic world. This is why, in a sense, sort of mind, energy, consciousness are all, if not the same, very similar. Good, looks good. Let's just do a little bit of this one, just to give the legs a bit of a rest. So remember, what we're really after here is the looseness in the hip joints, the groin here, but also the sacroiliacs. Imagine you have a tail and you're wagging it around. It's swinging this way, it's swinging this way. Yeah, so we want to be able to do this, wiggle our bums. You can practice this when you're walking down the street. See how many wolf whistles you get from the Italian men. remember when I was a kid and I'd be walking along with my mum, holding her hand, little kid. And my mum she was young and very attractive. If ever we went past a building site or something, she would always get wolf whistles, and she'd always be so thrilled that someone had noticed. Nowadays, women would take it as an insult. That's it. You're just trying to get this as much movement in the hips as possible, really. And if we're just standing like a sort of not too wide riding horse with the legs bent, we just want to feel that the hips are just very fluid, almost like my hips are floating in space. So the legs come up into the hips, but there's no real contact between the bones. So there's movement for the hips to sort of move around like this. And now let's try the heart qigong. Keep that exercise going that we were doing, previously, the one with the feet. And now let it settle into riding horse. Again, feel this as the center. My legs both extend from this point, the same as my arms, but it comes up the spine first to get to the shoulders. The legs are closer to the source than the hands and the arms are. So there's always a sense in Tai Chi that the legs are before the hands slightly. The legs should be more active than your hands and your arms. Think of the baby, when it's lying there getting its nappy changed. You take the nappy off and they're so thrilled to be free here. Their legs just kick like fury, like this, And there's not much happens in their arms. It's their legs that express their joy. As soon as the child starts standing and walking, tends to lose that. So in a sense, what we're trying to do is just retrieve the innocence that we had as a child. So my legs are extending from the sacrum, reaching down to the ground and just being really interested. Okay, so let's try just going down like this, but make sure it's split. So it's one and then the other, rather than both going completely together. I mean, it's not much of a split. To get joy expressed in your legs is difficult, because the legs are normally like depressed workhorses, blinkered, depressed workhorses that are just looking forward to the knacker's yard. And we just want them to be full of joy, to be able to dance around, skip around, like a little kid that can't sit still or stand still, constantly moving. So it's the openness here, these pockets in the groin. Same as here. So just imagine someone's, your arm is completely relaxed, and the teacher or a friend, a colleague, someone you're working with, just pulls your arm up. If they let go, it would just completely flop down. They pull your arm up and they pull it. They pull it in that direction. So what it would do was stretch from your spine. Your shoulder blade would start pulling down the arm. And this region here at the front beneath the collarbone would just hollow. All the musculature here would relax. That's what we're after. So we want to get that when we bring the arm up, not just when someone else helps us. Now, if someone was helping, what they have to do is pull the fingers. They pull the fingers so this arm has a feeling of being stretched out. They're not just lifting the arm like this. That won't do anything to the joint at all. They have to really pull the fingers. So that's the feeling of when we bring our arm up in Tai Chi. Well, let's just try it this way first. So we think of the fingers just extending, almost like energy is flowing out of the fingers, and that's extending the fingers out. And then just turn back, but keep the fingers extending. Yeah, so you're now in ward off. Ward off should feel really stretched from the spine, across the shoulder blade, down the arm. So this outside edge is really quite firm, not because the muscles have got rigid, but because the muscles are totally stretched. They can't stretch anymore. And then this region can be, the inside of the ward off can then be really soft and accepting. This is a strange thing about ward off and about Tai Chi. What we're doing, we're getting the energy of the back to go forwards and the energy of the front to go back. Yeah, this is what makes it strange. So this arm can just extend up. It's extending from the fingers. And then I just turn here, keep the extension out of my fingers, and this softens. So let's just try this. So I extend up. I imagine someone's lifting my fingers, lifting and pulling my fingers. And then I just turn back towards them, but allow them to continue stretching. And then this will just really soften and hollow. It's basically, when you pick up a kid, a toddler, and they just so naturally sit on your hip. You lift it up And your arm is just like this. And you tend to do it with your left hand if you're right-handed so that you can use your right hand to do other things. It's my memory of childhood. It's just my mum constantly with a kid on her left hip, baking a cake, holding the bowl here, whipping it here with a kid here. My fingers are being pulled and extended. And then I just roll back because I'm interested, but I allow the fingers to keep extending. I don't pull back like this. This is what's so difficult. The same time that we're receiving with the front, we're giving with the back. This is what makes Tai Chi so peculiar and so difficult. Okay, so let's try this hand again. So imagine someone's lifting the fingers and pulling them. They're stretching the arm from the back. And then I turn and keep this really open, soft here on the inside until I've turned enough to be able to face the hand. That is ward off. Ward off isn't simply bringing the arm up into this shape. It's really stretched, giving from the back of the arm, from the back of the back, and receiving with the inside of the arm and the front. So let's try this one now. So imagine someone's pulling my fingers. They're lifting and pulling my fingers. And I just have to let go. Yeah. So I don't want to do it. If I do it myself, then the muscles around here will get tight so that I can get the lift. If I let them do it, I can keep all these muscles completely relaxed because they will actually stretch them for me. And then I just turn back, but keep that extending fingers. But now I'm receiving here. I'm holding the child. It's a lovely feeling, but a lot of people don't like it because it's sort of, you become quite tender and emotional. Yes. And again, let's try this one again. So the fingers are being extended and pulled. Feel the stretch from the middle of the back between the shoulder blades, and then just turn towards it. This is the yielding. This is now, I'm now yielding, I'm softening. I'm pulling in, I'm spiraling into this armpit here, this hollow. And now I have ward off. My weight is in this foot, and I have the soft, empty inside and the strong, almost defensive outside. Let's try this one once more. So the arm is being pulled up. I have to keep the shoulder completely relaxed. This is why I need to use the spirit, the image of the puppet man. Imagine it's the man pulling up one of the strings that's extending the hand. It's the spirit that's lifting the hand. And then I just soften, and I yield until I've turned enough to be facing the hand. And that is ward off. And now if we just do like the 2 circle exercise, it's basically that. Here, this is being pulled out, and then it softens. And this is just pushing hands. This is how, we all know about this if we've studied with John, because we did so much pushing hands. Now, this is why it doesn't matter, how long people here have practiced Tai Chi. It doesn't look like Tai Chi because it's not soft and it's not yielding because they just don't have that pushing hands experience. Here, it's just a choreographed dance, really, and it looks incredibly boring. There are all those Tai Chi adverts now on YouTube are these really sort of over-muscled Chinese guys with these, what they call gym strength, these sort of painted muscles. And it's, they're just Shaolin guys that are sort of teaching a bit of Tai Chi, but it's no way in a million years is that going to be soft or have any core of authenticity when it comes to Tai Chi. So here the arm is being pulled by the string or by the other person. So I have to get the arm to come up, I really have to let go. And just let the spirit pull it up, or the puppet man, or your friend that you're working with. You know, all the time I've taught here, I've been here, what, 18 years now. And I've only once got a person to the point of them sort of falling in love with softness. It's most people here, they're terrified of it. They just see softness as weakness. You know? Not surprising, really, given their military training and their inbred hatred. So it's the spirit that takes the arm out, and it's the spirit from the heart in particular. So imagine Tinkerbell, you know, she's pulling your fingers with strings, these really fine gossamer threads. And it's so delicate, it just makes you shudder. Okay, let's try just standing again. Extending from here, so from the sacrum, down the legs, up the spine, across the shoulder blades and down the arms. That allows the inside to really soften. These two places here really hollow in. So then the middle almost has a sense that it's protruding because of the bone of the sternum. Yeah, and we want that. That's what we want. So hollow chest is not the whole chest hollowing like that. It's just a bit extreme. It's two sides to the sternum just hollowing in. And the same with the groin. You've got your pubic bone here, which pushes out a little bit. And then you've got these really soft places here that hollow in. That's what we want. And then we don't want to lose the vertical. So now just rolling the knees out just a little bit. They roll out and the sacrum is just pulled forwards by the hips. And then we can get this feeling of an endless lifting upwards and an endless dropping down, traveling all the way to the center of the earth. Now let's just try a few, just lifting the foot. So this is really important, just standing on one leg. Like a stork. You know, and the herons, you know, they stand on one leg, don't they? Not sure why. I mean, it just must give them so much speed, if you like. And it's like probably the same as us when we've got both feet on the ground. We're just a bit double weighted and so slow. Whereas when we've just got one foot on the ground, it's like the energy you can just whip out. Just have the hands like this, like you're cupping a little bit of water in each palm. Yeah, so you can feel it's the same structure in the hand. The palm is actually receiving, the palm is hollow, and the back of the hand is actually extending. So when you shake someone's hand, you're extending your fingers around their hand at the same time that the middle of your palm is sucking their energy into you. We want to feel it, and if we can, just exaggerate it a little bit. So just imagine your fingers are growing, they're quite long, or like you've got long fingernails. And so your energy would extend all the way into those fingernails. And this point here is it's like a well that's sucking everything into it. Here now, just feel the wings, this big cloak that's extending around you from behind. spreading, reaching down, spreading, reaching down. The inside is receiving. And then I just roll my knees out, and this settles down and this lifts. And then I have the whole picture, if you like. I want to sense that I'm really working with this space in front of me, that I can just instantly switch and just look to the horizon. Yeah, I can see about 10 kilometers in that direction. And now just bringing the feet up, toes in, just to help this stay stretching open.